Something called Standing for Women. We put a billboard up of the dictionary definition of woman. Oh, sorry. Which is this. And it got taken down for hate speech, and there have been women banned from political parties, being interrogated for wearing a t-shirt that reads the same. And there are sort of thought crimes and speech crimes up and down the country. And it's not just about transphobic, sort of so-called transphobic speech. There are other things that people are being arrested for that are just ridiculous, when, as most of us know, we know at least one person who's been burgled and nobody bothers to come out. So this sort of new policing of language is really, really difficult for all of us, and we shouldn't accept it. But more for women than other groups, unfortunately, is we have all the bits of our speech curtailed like everybody else, whether you're pro-Brexit or whether you vote Conservative or any of these sort of things, whether you have a position on immigration that isn't like open borders. All of these things are stifled. But for women, we can't even name what we are without HR persecution, without being told we're mean in schools. And I personally have been interviewed under caution twice for saying that we shouldn't transition children. So these are very real and present threats to our liberty in this country at a time when it's going insane. We're telling children in schools at 4 years old that they can choose their biological sex. Absolute madness, and it's not based on truth, so it can't last, and it can only be compelled by force, because you're never going to convince most people that their 11-year-old daughters can be in a changing room with a man with a penis who calls himself a woman.
What about the surgery? What actually happens? What are the consequences for these people having things changed down there?
Well, you're not going to have a fulfilling sex life. I mean, there's two things. When they give children puberty blockers, that child has no sexual development. It's not just about their body going through a puberty. It's about their body not going through any puberty whatsoever. Therefore, they will never have a lustful thought. They will never achieve an orgasm as an adult. They will never have a fulfilling sex life, so they're ruled out of intimacy.
If they have the change?
If they have just puberty blockers.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that also, they'll lose some cognitive function, working memory or something function, which is a trait of autism. And clearly puberty is a really important thing. And so it's really weird that we would think we can stop that. I mean, we look back at history and think that the practice of creating eunuchs is disgusting, and yet that's literally what we're doing.
Do you think transitioning is being used as a form of sort of not being gay, like conversion therapy?
Absolutely.
Some people are scared that their children might be gay.
So in the Tavistock, they were interviewed loads of staff. Tavistock is the specialist for gender, the NHS specialist, gender identity disorder services. Or gender identity services. Anyway, they reported, lots of the staff, that the parents were just relieved that their kids weren't gay if they say their kids could be born in the wrong body. So you take your daughter, who's been saying that she's a boy, and they'd rather that daughter be a boy than a lesbian. So it is the ultimate in gay conversion therapy.
Do you think some young women are scared to be women nowadays? Like, they say they're about 12 years old, they look at what they're supposed to be. They don't want that, so an easy option is to transition.
Yeah, and also the testosterone gives you real confidence. I mean, it unlocks the secret between so many mediocre men feel so entitled and special, because testosterone's quite powerful. So,
in Iran.
Like so in Iran, where they throw a homosexual off a building and it's illegal, those men are transitioning. You know, it's just so far-reaching. So parents, you have to talk to schools. You have the ultimate power in schools. You can stop it. You can go and say that your child is not going to be party to this nonsense. And it won't just be that. In sexual and relationship education, there's loads of things that you wouldn't want your kid to be learning. For example, they don't even talk about porn being harmful. They introduce concepts and things that I probably had never heard about till I was about 25. And even then, not all of it. So you really have to take charge. They're trying to take away your parental power, so you absolutely have to exercise your right to take it back.
And are your children themselves in school getting, if you like, educated in quotes about this trans stuff?
Well, they have been, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the
Surrounded by men.
it's on the curriculum.
It's on the curriculum, so I've asked to see the curriculum. For example, did you know it's up to the schools whether or not they show an animation of two people having sex to primary school children? It's a choice that schools make. And they talk about masturbation and stuff. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm pretty sure the human race has always found a way to discover that all on their own. I don't think you need to blur a boundary. It's not just about saying it's okay, but blurring the boundary between comfort between adults and children is a really dangerous path. A teacher standing at the front of the classroom talking about intimate sexual relationships and the mechanics of that, including masturbation, I just think it's wrong. You know, I don't know who on earth, besides someone like Peter Tatchell, who waxes lyrical about these things, who on earth would think it was right to talk to kids about that sort of stuff.
And it's also invading privacy.
Yeah. So the schools in Birmingham, the guy had worked in a Christian school and the Christian parents were having none of it. So he went to a really quite devout Muslim school in order to introduce this queering the classroom stuff, which is shrouded in this no outsiders stuff. He believes, or he went to this whole thing that talks about queering the classroom where both the 4-year-old and the teacher has a sexual identity. It's all queer theory stuff, and it's very dangerous and it's pernicious. And what they've done is they've shrouded it in offence and accusations of bigotry so they can get away with saying this stuff. Children don't need, look, if there are children with homophobic views, then you sit them down and you talk to them gently about erasing those views. It's not really any of your business to do that with primary school children when their parents are likely to come from a different environment. At 11, from that age, I say go for it. I think it's really important that people aren't prejudiced. But at 6 years old, do children need to, like, the difference between a homosexual and a straight relationship is the mechanics of sex. So I don't think kids should be told about those things. But I do think if a child started in this school and they had 2 lesbian parents and they were being picked on, I think people should be told to be kind, and there was nothing wrong with it. That's kind of where I am.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.